Hi there, and welcome to the latest episode of Chip Shop Chat, where I, Stephen Lepitak, Executive Editor of The Drum, get to speak to some of the entrants to this year's Chip Shop Awards about the ideas they've had and submitted. And with the nominations coming up next month, I thought I'd choose a few of the ideas just to explore where they came from. And for this one, I'm joined by Chelsea Toms from Ogilvy Health. And Chelsea, can I get you to just talk a bit about the piece of work that you guys have entered?
Sure. So simply put, the idea is a Where's Wally book series starts to act as a conversation starter for climate change with children. And if you picture a child going through the Where's Wally book, searching for Wally here and there, going through all of the sort of the nitty-gritty illustration, maybe as they turn the page by page, they start seeing nods to the effects of climate change here and there. And then they're going to be hit with a page that was our entry as they turn the page. And it's going to be really stark. You see the ice caps have melted, sea levels have risen, and there's no more Wally. That sounds quite dramatic as I'm saying it here, but it's meant to shock. It's not meant to terrify, it's meant to shock.
Wow.
And we hope that that will do that visually with the way that the page is laid out. It's going to be very barren with just the waves featured, as opposed to the really crowded pages they would have seen before. Mm-hmm. And then also coupled with the message that's on the page about Wally couldn't save his world, but we can save ours. So a little bit of an active message there and a bit of a positive spin to engage the next generation who are going to have to deal with this problem.
So when I had a look at that, I thought actually I could see that being quite successful. You've entered into Best Use of Ambient. It's called Wally's Last Adventure. So
yes,
I mean it's grim, but
yeah,
it's also, I mean, it's got a very strong message. And I thought actually if they were to include that in a Wally book, it would get children asking, well, what does this mean? And probably act as a conversation starter. So I mean, where did the idea come from?
It came from sort of a series of conversations when we talk about how we recycle now and not having straws, for instance, all of those little things which we've changed in our behaviour very recently. Quite a few people are sort of like, oh, I wish we knew that when we were younger. And it's true, like the knowledge on climate change hasn't really changed in 10, 20 years, but our behaviour has. So that sort of opened up a nice territory to play in about communicating some of this I was going to say propaganda. I'm not quite sure if that's the right framing of this, but some of those messages earlier on, and that opened up the doors to finding Where's Wally is quite a nice medium to share that information in.
Yeah, I mean, what it would do is certainly it's about raising awareness, and that is certainly part of this conversation when we're talking about climate change. What I've experienced personally when I'm having conversations with others who have done work in this field is they weren't having these conversations years ago. Unless things proactively spur on awareness driving, then nothing changes. So I think it's a really nice idea that would help that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something which is quite endearing. It is, as you say, it is quite grim, but the way in which it's executed, I think, to the parents, I guess more the millennial generation now, it does resonate, but also it's going to be something which should be quite impactful to the children themselves.
Yeah, it's very chip shop, as I like to say when I see things. In terms of the awards itself, then, what do you think of the idea of the Chip Shop Awards are the only creative awards in the world that has no rules, so you can go off, come up with an idea and really explore it. How did that help all involved in this respect?
Oh, we've loved it. I think this is the first time that us as Ogilvy Health have been able to do this in quite I'd say a larger capacity, because we had this initiative where we just wanted to bring our creative, our PR, our brand comms, all of the teams together and flex our creative muscles. And it sort of, Chip Shops became the end point in that exercise, which was all about our collaboration, getting our sort of re-energizing our creative abilities. And what we found is actually there were some really cool ideas that our company have come up with together, and it's just fun to hear that whole experience has been really positive for us. But especially within health, like within our industry, we have lots of guidelines which we work within, and that in itself is quite a skill. But taking off, say, client needs, taking off all of our agency process, literally removing everything, and just making this about having a good idea is so freeing, and it pulled together some really nice ideas.
Yeah, you do wonder if that gets lost sometimes in this industry, and I don't want you to come back on that. But it's yeah, we like the Chip Shop Awards for exactly that. We think it's freeing to an industry that loves a creative idea.
Absolutely.
Well, Chelsea, thank you for explaining all of that, and good luck when the nominations come. Those will be in the next few weeks, so hopefully we'll see your the Ogilvy Health name amongst those. And thank you to you, the viewer, for joining us once again as well. Lots more of these Chip Shop chats online, and keep an eye on the Chip Shop Awards website for when the nominations are announced. Take care.